At 36,000 feet, a stranger fell, a father rose, and a little girl saw the scene that changed her father's destiny. This is the story of a decision that changes lives forever. Dusk was falling over the ocean. The flight from Chicago to San Francisco was flowing smoothly at its height. Outside the window, the clouds were bathed in golden light, as if someone had scattered a mist of hope across the sky. Inside the plane, in rows of seats, people were lost in their own thoughts. Some with headphones in their ears, some with laptops in their laps, some with anxiety in their hearts. Among them, in a quiet seat sat a veteran, with an old watch strapped to his hands and the fatigue in his eyes that never leaves him even after the war. Nathan Collins, 42 years old, a resident of a small town in Texas, never saw himself on this flight. But life had brought him here. His wife, Sarah, had lost her to cancer 3 years earlier. After that, Nathan had learned to breathe, not to live. His daughter, Layla, was 12, intelligent, quiet, and able to read the sadness in her father's eyes. This trip was no picnic. It was a rehabilitation program in San Francisco for veterans, where Nathan had applied as a last resort. Layla looked out the window and said softly, "Dad, the clouds look like tears." Nathan smiled and shook his head, but the smile didn't reach his eyes. He knew Layla was trying to be strong for him. The thought weighed heavily on his heart. Suddenly, a noise came from the back of the cabin. First a low groan, then the sound of someone falling. The passengers jumped to their feet. The flight attendants rushed over. A young woman, perhaps in her 30s, lay semi-conscious on the floor. Her hands were shaking. Her breathing was labored. Someone said, "Sugar is gone." Someone asked for water. But the moments were passing. Nathan's training woke up. He looked at Layla. She was nodding silently as if to say, "Go, Dad." Nathan knelt down, checked the woman's pulse, tried to steady her breathing. He was not a doctor, but the battlefield had taught him to make quick decisions. He gave instructions to the flight attendant: honey or juice, feet a little higher. After a few minutes, the woman's breathing improved. Her eyes opened. "My name is Mia," she said in a weak voice. "Thank you." The cabin was quiet again. People returned to their seats. Nathan sat down in his seat. Layla held his hand. There was pride in her eyes, and that pride sank somewhere deep into Nathan's heart. The story could have ended here, but life often twists the story from where we think it ended. 2 days later, Nathan stood outside an old building in the cold San Francisco air. It was an interview for a rehabilitation program. He was wearing a simple suit. Layla was reading a book on a bench outside. The door opened. A woman came out, dignity, confidence, and intelligence in her eyes. Nathan was startled. It was Mia, the ship's owner. "Mr. Collins?" she said, smiling. "Come in." The interview was not formal. The questions were not paper-based. Mia asked Nathan how he slept at night, what his nightmares were like, and what he did on days when he was feeling down. Nathan told the truth without embellishment. He mentioned Layla, his memories of Sarah, and the silent battle he fought every day. At the end of the meeting, Mia closed the file. "I'm the director of this program," she said, "and I offer you not just rehabilitation but partnership. We're starting a new initiative, technology and community support for veterans. We need people who understand the pain." Nathan's eyes filled with tears. This wasn't a job, it was a purpose. Over the next few months, Nathan began to change. He ran workshops, teaching young veterans how working with their hands heals the mind. Layla got into a good school on a scholarship. She took up art. Laughter returned to the house. Mia, whose full name was Mia Richards, guided Nathan. She never mentioned her kindness. She knew that the real kindness was the moment someone held her hand as she fell to the ground. A year later, Nathan was invited to speak at a conference. He stood on stage and said, "We all have a seat. Sometimes we have to get up, because someone else's life is asking for our courage at that moment." Applause broke out. Layla sat in front, smiling. Nathan felt for the first time that he was truly alive. The story could have ended here, but the real ending is the choice we make every day. to get up or to stay seated. If the story touched your heart, then red heart like speech balloon, tell us in the comments, do you believe in second chances? And bell, don't forget to subscribe to Kindness Narratives because stories aren't just for telling, they can change someone's life.